Welcome to Crawl or No Crawl. This is Carolyn Holzman. Today is August 17th, day 714 of the Indexation Research Project, which for those of you who are keeping count, which is me, we're 16 days away from the 2-year anniversary of this project, and I have to say congratulations to Google because they do not disappoint. Earlier in this week, I'm going to go show you, this chart is on the Google Index Detector page on American Way Media. You can find it by going over to Google and searching for Google Index Detector. It's the first result. And you can see here that we were in, actually let me show you here. We were in a 2-day time frame. But let me show you the details so you follow along with me. That basically last week we were almost instantaneous indexation. So what was published on the 6th was found and served by its keywords on the 6th. 7th, the same thing. Starting on the 8th, we were in a 2-day cycle. So we had this 2-day gap where I didn't find any new content. But clearly Google's indexing system was working. So the test for the 8th was found on the 10th, on the 9th was found on the 11th, on the 10th was found on the 12th, the 11th on the 13th, and the 12th on the 14th. Since that time, no. So I'm going to say that now we're at a point for the first time in a long time, and I've got the data to show you. Oh, man. So for the first time in a long time, the index systems and the subsystems within the indexation system are not working as they were before. And they are, to our purposes, off right now for new content. Now, watch yesterday's report where I break down how it can be deduced that we were out of the 2-day time frame for new content. I'll put the URL in the description. But starting today, there is new evidence, in addition to what I saw yesterday. There's new evidence that something is not as it was. And it may possibly have turned off. I think of it almost like it's almost like a tunnel between everything, what they have and what we can see. And that they push out through Search Console. And specifically things that they push out through, I guess we'd call it the serving system of the indexation system. Number one, the inspection toolbots are not doing everything they did before today in terms of render crawling. So that's a big difference. Search Console data on individual URL inspections is not lining up with verified crawls from server logs for content that was previously I should say that was published and had all the previous normal amount of inspection bot crawls. So I'm not saying, I've discovered Search Console data is not correct. I'm giving you a specific date and time that it was not correct. Okay? Now as I said, the last test page that went through was August 12th on Saturday. And the server logs showed since August 10th that there had been a huge drop-off in the number of desktop bots, the ones that render content. And then on August 14th, that's over here, the mobile rendering bots dried up. Now, if the bots are not rendering, ain't nothing getting in. I don't care how many indexers you have. They ain't getting in. I'm frustrated myself. So I think the combination of all these behaviors led to the slowdown in volatility that we experienced the early part of this week. Guess where we are now? Yeah. So, we're back into the high volatility range this morning. Now, one explanation is when they were rolling out this new FAQ and the how-to-rich snippet change, which I think is a big one, in terms of what they had to do on their end, where those things are not going to be rendered on phones. So they were making sure everybody was prepared to see a change in their data. If you were getting a lot of that, and you were getting a lot of that on mobile, you are not getting that anymore. So you're going to see a drop off. Doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. Doesn't mean that FAQ and how-to schema is a penalty. It just means they're not displaying it for mobile devices. So, anyway, so they were explaining how they go through this holdback, while they run some more testing. So when they do that, they stopped crawling and recrawling, and likely it created a backlog for the regular bots, for the regular crawler bots, not the inspection crawler bots. And yesterday, actually, before I say that, the logs confirmed that there was a lack of crawling and recrawling of the standard bots. So the difference today is not only is that true today about the regular bots, but now it's gone over into the inspection tool bot rendering. All right? Did you get that? Like, we have these two, whenever you publish anything new, the inspection tool bots are the ones that go through Search Console when we request it. And so now we're seeing a different behavior in those bots. So what's the key takeaway? Well, I think Google is working and somewhere in here and is doing some of their holdback testing, which then create these backlogs while they do so. And then when they're done on that, say, that segment of the index they were testing on, pushing out the backlog kind of appears like volatility. So I would say expect not to see new content. And read that also as any backlinks that you're building, as well as content on your money site. That's still new content when you're creating your backlinks. Not editing, but creating new ones. And to see anomalies in your Search Console. Again, all data points to that it's not us, it's Google. So if you're shoving tons of backlinks and indexers, it's likely they're not going to get, those links are not going to get indexed. Likely they're not even going to get crawled. And you'll need to shove them back in when this is all over. So the software tool indexer that I'm developing continues to march towards the beta release sometime in September. The Forensic SEO training enrollment is now open for the next training session on the 7th, September 7th, 14th, and 21st. If you're interested in being able to look at SERPs and figure out why some other site is beating you, or you're tired of just paying for backlinks to cure everything, this might be for you. The link to the sales page is in the description, or you can Google Forensic SEO, and it's the second result. Remember, look for American Way Media's result. All right, so I'll be watching in the SERPs. If you're seeing anything strange related to this particular time frame, make sure to leave your observations in the comments. When we share what we see, we can kind of connect more dots and get greater understanding. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.